Alrighty. Alright. Granny,
Yes.
you've been spending some time in the evening just making up some nice tea as an evening nice snack. Just sorting through, trying to experiment with a new blend, really. Hopefully, it'll all work out. You move about, trying to get things perfect, actually. You hope that perhaps if you make the best blend, then you'll have a nice new treat next time Suisen shows up, because you've heard he sent letter that he'd be returning soon.
You'll be so surprised.
And as time was passing, moving on this blend, time seemed to move forward ever so subtly until eventually, Machi, you hear a knock at the door. Creak the door open, and upon the other side, you see the shining face of the prodigal son. Ah, Machi.
The prodigal son returns home.
He goes over to the side, kind of kneels down and shakes your hand a little bit. And then, as you go to shake his hand, you also notice that through a part of the door, almost in the shadow of the door, hanging beyond, there's
a child.
Suisen kind of looks forward a bit. Oh, yes, Machi. I've brought a longtime guest, potentially.
Machi can't believe it.
This is Kou. Here,
he's grown up so fast.
Kou, you see this tiny little stuffed doll-looking straw thing. It's got a face like Mochi.
Well, I'll be. This one of them avocados?
No, this is Machi. I think Machi is an edible.
They all say that first.
Here, let me... Machi, can you go get Gran?
Nods and quickly dashes inside.
He kind of moves up. Here, come on in. This is the place where I used to stay a long time ago.
Kou backs up a bit to size up this building before going in. How on a scale of Kou's previous heavy quotes house to like the Baron's estate, how opulent does this place look from the outside?
This is like, well, this is way more opulent than your shrine. This is like 20 of your shrines. And also, like, a quarter of a baron's house. Which just about averages out to your shrine being about 1/80th of the baron's estate.
The baron's house, yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, using this important information, Kou determines that she should, in fact, scrape her boots on the mat repeatedly before entering.
Granny, you step out and you notice as that is happening, you see Suisen standing to the side and a kid almost very effortfully trying to scrape off the dirt off her boots over and over again at the entryway.
Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle.
Yeah.
She doesn't see Kou immediately, and she comes out carrying a tray with the tea, and she's like, "Oh, you made it just in time for tea." I don't think I made enough. You already see 2 teapots on that tray.
Yes, this is Kou. I wanted to bring her by for, Suisen kind of scratches at her chin a little bit. Well, to be honest, I wanted her to see the place, and then maybe, if possible, ask if it would be okay if she could stay here for a while.
did Suisen mention any of this in his letter?
He absolutely didn't.
I don't know for sure, but I imagine that for some reason, I find it very likely that he did not mention to Kou in advance that the intent was for him to drop her off here and then leave.
In this way, both ways, he's kind of fucked up that.
She continues lurking in the doorway instead of coming in.
Granny walks forward and puts the tea down. Why don't you come inside? What's your name?
Kou. Miss.
You could call me Granny Eridu.
Suisen kind of moves to the side, sits down, and starts pouring out cups of tea for everyone.
Oh, man.
Why don't you take a seat?
Machi has become full of Hawaiian punch.
Yeah. Suisen turns over to look at Machi.
Is hitting your leg softly doing no damage, but is angry?
Huh? What? He kind of looks and then just kind of picks up Machi and it's like, what is it? He grabs Machi to the side and kind of like, what is it?
Like that video of the tiny turtle repeatedly headbutting the man's shoe.
Yeah.
To think Imaru raised him so well, and here he is abandoning his child.
He takes
really
his
get
kind of
much
pulls him
better.
aside. It's like, hang on. He goes over to the side, runs off this way really quick, and grabs a piece of paper, and he sits Machi down and puts the paper down, looking severely. You gotta write to me. You know I don't understand what you do.
Baps you 2 more times before picking up a writing utensil and furiously writing in actually kind of nice handwriting.
He looks. I'm glad I taught you well.
It's all angry at you.
Yeah. Actually, no, I think it's in the inverse. I think you taught Suisen how to write.
Yeah.
This is originally
Baps you.
Machi's handwriting. This is, oh my god. Meanwhile,
Trained
over
warrior
here,
must know how
yeah.
to convey themselves with the pen.
Taking advantage of Suisen's distraction, Kou has immediately taken his chair.
Would you like something to eat?
Yeah, yes, what you got?
We've got. Oh, I have some sweets. Some
those.
cakes. Yeah. Okay. she goes in. And gets them.
You see
Suisen just. Suisen just kind of looks and he realizes in that moment what he did, and he's just,
You really must say what's on your mind, Suisen.
I'm sorry, Machi. and you, Gran. I didn't fully make the decision that I was gonna bring Kou with me until after I'd sent the letter out, and I didn't think to write another one. She's just I picked her up from a town when I went to check on one of the core spirits, and I think she could use some help.
Okay. Yeah, it's just me and Machi here. I worry a little bit with, the lapses.
Yeah, but he kind of moves over and taps Machi's head. Machi's got it all together.
That Machi does.
he kind of goes on out the door again, and kind of takes a seat here outside of like the specific cushion, and just kind of like sits down again.
Oh, kind
So?
of jumps a little bit when the door is opened again. She had gotten up and was wandering around looking at all of the interesting things along the wall up here. The screen, the plant, this musical instrument, and then all the stuff on the stand.
He just kind of smiles, and he doesn't really say anything or add anything about that, which is kind of the way that they've interacted, I'm pretty sure, most of their travels. It's sort of how they first met, and it seems like an aspect they kind of carry forward. So, Iruru.
Yes.
How do you come on out?
She comes out with the cakes that she makes for herself and places them on the table. And these are some of my favorites, and they're little like mochi cakes that are decorative, like flowers, and have a paste inside.
You
Now,
see these tiny little sweets hanging in front of you. What do you do?
Well, I think she immediately, like, wordlessly, without saying anything, and almost immediately reaches out for one, and then kind of flinches backward a little, and like looks at her, and then at Suisen in a sort of wordless, like, "Can I just take these?"
Suisen just kind of gives a nod. Go for it.
You just grab.
You
starts,
take a bite.
starts with one, but it just
Yeah.
goes straight in the mouth. There's no daintiness.
You take a bite, and Kou, that is probably one of the most delicious snacks you've ever had in your life. You've had one of the dongos before, but I don't know, something about this one just feels different. Maybe it's just because it's fresh made instead of bought at a stall. The dongo up to that point had been, but you finally found something to match. And I think the thing that really hits you is as you look across at the table, you realize there are so many more there as well.
Shit, that's good.
You just collect a bunch of these and just start shoving them in your mouth over and over again. Just taking bite after bite. There's nothing that really compares to Granny's.
You might want some more tea with that. She pours another cup. It gets a little sticky on the throat.
Your throat does feel a little
Yeah,
gummed up
it's like-
right now, Kou.
Yeah. takes a realize she's on like her third one and realizes like maybe I should, and like starts to slow down a bit and kind of chokes that last one back, and then does her best to take the tea in a very refined and polite and etiquette observant way, but really doesn't know how to do that, so just picks it up very slowly and brings it to her mouth very slowly. kind of sits there,
Yeah.
using the excuse of now having the teacup right there and repeatedly taking sips to not have to say anything, eyes darting back and forth.
So,
yeah.
how did you two meet?
Back in the town of Omani, I managed to deal with a core spirit situation over there, and then a very practical situation popped up, so we both decided to head out.
She taps her chin. Omani. I believe there was a core spirit there, wasn't there?
Yes. He kind of nods his head. Seems that it started to take a dive for the worse, so we took care of it, and Kou over here actually is the one who finished up the job.
Oh, is she?
Mm-hmm.
And what did you think of that, Kou?
It went okay. I helped out with the digging part. Go way down. It was way down deep under the mine. So, and I used to work there, so I kind of showed them the way, you know.
you used to work there. How old are you?
Pounce on her fingers for a bit. 11.
Granny looks at Suisen.
Yeah, he kind of gives her the look. Like, I found this dog, can we keep it? Look.
And Kou, would you like to stay here?
She kind of looks to Suisen. I don't know, would I?
He kind of thinks about that as like, well, this is where I stay sometimes. It's this is a place where we can always go home, I guess is a way to put it. It's a nice spot to have a bed just in case you get tired of not having one.
Granny smiles. It's a traveler's home.
Well, kind of, still looking at Suisen, well, kind of sounds like what you're really asking is, do you want me to stay here so you can go off and, you know...
Oh, Suisen kind of considers, oh, of course, yeah. He kind of, looks at Kou and sort of, I really, really like traveling with you. It's good. I think it could be good to also have a place to just, you know, rest a little bit. I don't know if I'm really capable of giving everything you might need. We've had a few close calls, haven't we?
Suppose we have.
Hey, here. He kind of stops, and he kind of so I have to travel around to a lot of places, obviously. We've been going together for a bit, but I always end up being able to write and stay in touch with Granny and Machi over here by, well, writing letters. So, why not, if you can stay here for a little bit, and maybe under the proper tutelage of Machi over there, he kind of points his hand, learn how to write, then anytime you want, if you want to write me a letter, I'll always make sure to write back. And he kind of stops a bit, and if you write me that first letter, I'm more than happy to come back and travel just a little bit longer if you'd like.
Okay.
I don't mean to make it sound like I'm just ditching you somewhere, you know?
Now we play the important game of do I remember which order the icons are in this rollable table? Is it this one? No. Is it this one? Yes. Okay. Yeah, I reckon that'd be alright.
Susan smiles at that.
Don't know I got it in me to write. Ain't you supposed to learn that when you're real young or else not?
Don't
There's
worry.
always time to learn.
Machi's very good at teaching.
What is
He
Machi
kind of-
doing?
She is running laps around a seat cushion.
Okay.
Pretty much like, I'm ready to start when you are.
Yeah.
Making the adorable little foot patter sound all over the place.
The rotation there had me thinking Machi was doing the like like flying off into space.
Goodbye, Machi.
Suisen's excellent. Then let's have a toast to it. Let's empty the glass. He kind of holds up the teacup and then just drinks it down.
Granny picks up a teacup as well.
Yeah, Kou goes and feigns drinking. She has already she's already finished her tea, so she's just like, like,
You all
tips it back.
You all toast, taking a drink as arrangements have been made here. And Kou, as time begins to pass, you would find yourself staying here at least for some time. You would fall asleep on numerous occasions, learning a number of different things, and one morning, you would find yourself awake again. Here, let me just place you back. As you, having awoken, you You wake up off of your futon instead in this pile of little forted pillows on the side. It's almost like a little hole having been dug out of pillows that your head almost pops out of again as you sort of just look around. Morning having come again as you check either side, the little side room having been assembled just for you in this time.
I think this is a common occurrence. I think so many of Koa's formative years were spent not sleeping in actual beds that she has almost the cat-like habit of like nestle somewhere that's defended on all sides, preferably.
Mhm.
Because
So the little
her little quote unquote house before was very small, so it was like a little hutch. But in a big room like this, she instinctively looks for what's a smaller enclosure I can assemble to sleep in.
So you essentially grab all the pillows, shove them up to the like in front of you, and then kind of lean up against the wall.
Yeah.
There's enough of them, and Granny's pulled out every pillow in stock to toss them in there, along with a few blankets and other things. So you've got a nice little fort here as you kind of wake up and just look around.
Does this room have a window?
I would say they do. It's more like right above the bed, and it kind of has a few like notches on the top of it. So it's one of those things where you look out, and it's just like, actually, the sun almost hits you in the face when you wake up sometimes.
Yeah. She goes over and peers out to try to assess what time it is.
It seems, when do you think you've been waking up? After staying here for about a year, do you think you still wake up really early, or have you adapted to, like, a different kind of sleep? I wonder if Ko's sleeping is actually normalized for a child her age.
That's a good question. She definitely, when she was working in the mines, I'm sure she was getting up at like 5. I think she probably kept that habit in Omani, and then may have kept it when she was traveling on the road also, because if you have a long day of travel, you often have to get a start before the sun is even up. It's been a year. Well, here's a question. When does Iruru typically get up? Is she an early riser?
Does she rise with the morning dew and the fog?
Yeah, I say like she doesn't get like super heavy sleep, so she might like even come up a few times in the night.
Okay.
So she'll also just like, it depends on the day, really. She doesn't really have to be up for anyone most of the time.
I think Kou still gets up early, because this is, I mean, she's had a year to get used to it now, so I'm sure it feels less weird. But prior to this, there's never been a time in her life when she was in anything approaching a normal, like, I am a child and live with a parental figure in a house kind of thing. So I think she would take it as a point of pride to continue trying to be the first one up and, like, make tea or something in the morning. And maybe some days she succeeds, and other days Iruru was, like, up in the middle of the night when Kou got up, and so felt like she lost. And there was a little arms race for a bit where she would try to get up earlier and earlier, but she couldn't manage it. At a certain point, you can't beat old person biology getting them up at like 3 a.m. randomly.
Yeah.
I think Kou is probably getting up at the crack of dawn still, and still prefers to be up first to try and look like she's accomplishing some kind of chore by the time Iruru is up and about.
Excellent.
Machi gives a good morning wave.
So how do you think Kou feels about savory foods for breakfast?
I don't think she would have a problem with it, because I'm pretty sure she went for years with rice for every meal. And if she had, if she happened to have some jerky or whatever, don't imagine she would have been picky about eating that first if it made the most sense.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think in this case, Granny's still doting a lot and just trying to make her feel comfortable, even if it's been a year. So she's preparing some food here, and here's Kou's stir. So she gathers it all together and heads out. Oh, good morning, Kou.
Morning, Graham.
So I made some sweet egg this morning, if you would like some.
Sweet egg. Kou looks very wait, I don't have to narrate it. Hang on. Sweet egg.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an egg roll of sorts. Here, let me place this down, and I'll get some tea.
You look
Yeah,
at the
with,
sweet egg. It's all folded up and stuff. It's weird.
Yeah, I think it's been long enough with regular access to food and regular meals that Kou is no longer an immediate devourer and finisher of plates.
Mm-hmm.
So now probably she takes the food, sets it in front of herself, and patiently waits for Iruru to return so that they may politely eat together.
And that she does, and she returns with the tea and takes a seat with Kou. So, how are you feeling this morning?
Oh, little something in my neck, I think. But good rest.
Did you burrow yourself in pillows again?
Kind of looks off to the side, slightly abashed. I might have done.
Whatever it is that makes you comfortable.
Whatever makes you comfortable, you silly little idiot. Gopher child. Piss baby. In this episode, character defamation.
Meanwhile, in Granny's head, she's thinking about how she would like to sleep in a burrow of pillows.
Yeah.
She's not going to say that, though. So, what would you like to do today?
What all needs doing around the house?
Well, I was going to take a look around outside and see if any gardening needed to be done. Really anything that we feel like doing. That's
Gardening, you say?
Do you enjoy gardening? She questions very slowly.
Well, maybe landscaping would be the word. I used to do an awful lot of digging, and haven't had much occasion to in the past couple years, I suppose. Y'all ever wanted any of them fancy outdoor stairs? What people put plants on?
Oh, that sounds unique. You've been here quite a bit. Have you taken a look around outside?
Yeah, it's real pretty.
I haven't changed too much, to be honest. I keep it up in the way that it was prepared many years ago. But I would welcome some change if you wanted to try something new.
Well, I reckon it's pretty pretty easy to keep it looking good when the land looks good on its own. Ain't the case everywhere, unfortunately. But I think I could leave it better than I found it. If you won't give me the if you'll give me a chance.
Oh, absolutely. I would love to see what you do. And question, Kou has been here for a year. Has Kou seen any
Yes.
core spirits around the house?
Oh, absolutely, yes. You've seen a few. You know that there's one always underneath this futon. There's some that seem to float around occasionally elsewhere. You know that there's one in the kitchen that eats trash. It's pretty cool.
Yes, I only ask that if there's a core spirit outside that seems to enjoy its habitat. Let's not change that too much. I can find out for you if you'd like.
Oh, you can I never seen no one talk to him like Daisuisen can.
They don't say so much words, but I do get a feel for their desire.
Yeah. Was weird. The one time I had to go up and we went under the mines and I found something there. He said it was a spirit of appetite and made me feel things a way I weren't entirely comfortable with, but maybe I was feeling a bit of what it was feeling in that moment. Is that how it works?
Yes, it seems you might have a bit of an affinity for the core spirits. Also, I'd like to roll to see if Granny remembers a story.
Yes.
The core
Do
spirit
it.
of destruction story.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, sure. Roll to see if you do. Yes, you remember it perfectly. How could you ever forget?
Oh, that reminds me of a case I handled a long time ago. I went deep into the caves.
You go into this story and start talking and telling the story about the core spirit of destruction and stuff like that. Kou, I think story times happen frequently. How do you feel about the story times?
I think generally speaking, enraptured.
Nice. Yeah, the topic's coming up again. The idea of core spirits and all this stuff. You end up hearing another one, a story like that, a story about core spirits after having that topic of being able to talk to them or hearing certain things about them, and then you hear a story about eventually the core spirit that would end up heating up the very thing you're sitting on now, just about.
I think when that realization clicks for her mid-story, Kou kind of picks up the blanket under the kotatsu here and kind of like casts an eye under that, looking for this thing.
Yeah, you cast an eye out looking, and then eventually in the dark you almost get spooked for a second after hearing about this thing being big and scary, as you see a slightly dark core spirit that still seems to glow with a bit of a pinkish red outline that almost seems to be poking out under there almost. This kind of seems to float around and see you back for a little bit.
Granny outstretches a hand and lets it rest.
It seems to move there and rest ever so silently on the hand. It's honestly pretty fascinating.
And you said
You do have magic skills.
there's core spirits out there in the garden?
Yes. They're all around the house, to be honest.
In fact, it pops in your mind, if you want to show one, the core spirit of fire inside of the oven's actually been pretty active today, if you want to maybe show that one off.
Here, have you seen the one in the kitchen?
There's been one in the kitchen this whole time?
Yes. She places this core spirit back down and lets it just sit on the table for a while.
It does that. You keep moving past, and kind of trailing behind Gran as you move into the kitchen, you walk up and you see that stove sitting there, and as you kind of move up closer, you kind of look and you just see a lot of fire in there, Kou, at least to start. But the matter of, you don't really see too much immediately.
Granny stands
Blocked
nearby
in front of it.
and she says very smoothly, "It's all right to come out."
You notice the flames almost seem to flicker ever so slightly as something that would be a little alarming at first. You see flames almost pool out and start spilling out the side, and almost startles at you first. Kou, make me a roll to do really quick.
Ooh. Okay, I guess this is gonna be wild. And roll to do. Oh, I think it.
Oh.
I don't know why it picked blue.
That's
I
strange.
don't know if it's. I'm just gonna.
Oh, drop. You're locked in.
Oh.
Try another one.
Oh, I must have. Oh, because I changed my
Yeah.
my rollable table, but I didn't
Yeah.
actually drop the swing. Okay, I'm just
Mhm.
gonna. If I do roll to
another
do
one.
while I'm not locked in, will it do 1d20 plus 1d6?
It will not. You'll have to add that one in by itself.
Okay. Well, here's the d20. All right. Well.
Okay.
All right, let's find out. I can give it a shot. Okay, I got a 9.
Oh, a 9. Okay.
Kind of
Let's
saved it
see.
a little.
Maybe. I'll
Oop,
do a little roll here. Let's see what happens. Yeah.
Would
Granny-
Granny be able to assist?
Yes, I was about to say, it seems
Okay.
like Kou's having a bit of trouble actually kind of understanding or seeing or listening to the spirit. Sees the fire, but not what the form the fire takes. So Granny, maybe instill some wisdom upon the child.
Should I roll to die?
Yeah, roll to die.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay. Do that one.
Is this one?
Yes. So, what do you see before you?
Fire and no, really wants to say something else to not leave it at that. Racks her brain and kind of has a defeated slump of the shoulders. Pretty much just fire.
And how do you feel about fire, Kou? Is Kou wearing her helmet still?
Yes.
How do you feel about fire? And she looks up at the candle on her helmet.
Pretty useful, I reckon.
Yes. Like that destruction core spirit back there. A lot of people see fire and think that it's an end to things, but it also brings things to life and keeps things warm. I think if you try to remember what makes fire so special in your life, maybe you'll start to see its form.
Kou, you can now roll to die for me really quick.
Yeah. Can I? Okay. Well, I'll roll to die first.
Yes.
Oh, what? Okay, that shouldn't be wounded. Okay, let's try again. There we go. Gonna lock yellow. And oh, it's a shame it didn't set my token. Oh well. I think so I'd like to use yellow here because based on what Graham just told her, I think to her fire is light and heat and dryness, which are all things that she lacked often, and that were critically important if you were gonna go poking around underground. And so to her, quite the opposite of how many people would think of fire. To her, fire is a bringer of safety and comfort in those dark places. So I'd like to roll with my diggin', if I may.
Yeah.
Roll to do, and no swing. I locked yellow.
Oh, but add your yellow in there. That would be a +6 to that then.
Yeah,
That gets you over
or-
to 15.
or-
That's enough to pass that DC I said earlier. So yes, you take that moment and you recall that rather simple memory. It's inside, just that feeling of comfort you get from having a light to guide your way into the caves. A lifeline, not so much warmth, but instead a bright light that lets you see. And with that, you notice those flames boiling until eventually you see that core spirit almost form around there too, bubbling at the entryway to the stove as it almost seems to reflect off of your consciousness in that moment. And
I'll be. She's a beaut.
the fire almost seems to cackle there a bit, or just moving around and almost flaring around jovially in your eyes. And as you turn around to look at Gran, almost with like a bit of accomplishment, you also notice behind you that with your awareness open, you see another one even behind, kind of almost talking with and
Poor spirit of
interacting with-
cotton candy.
You notice it's interacting and all just talking around with Machi, and as it happens, you kind of look all around you in that moment, and you kind of see every which way different core spirits starting to pop up, just sort of interacting and all around, basically. You notice that there's some that almost seem to be popping around and kind of floating about, even outside the windows on the outside. You kind of start looking around a little bit more, and there are core spirits just about everywhere, you think. Let me just drop a few here. You notice, again, ones that almost seem to... Out the window, you see one almost resting against the tree outside. Leaves that almost seem to sit ever still on a tree that seems to be blowing in the wind all the same. A number of core spirits all just kind of floating around the area. It was just like that. You opened your eyes for a little bit, and suddenly it seemed a whole bunch poured in. Almost a lot to take in at once, but also, still, they're all pretty beautiful. And in your head, as you look at each one kind of moving around, and you think, man, I kind of want to see more of these things.
You're very good with that spirit.
The cocked eyebrow is not really going on here, but I don't have a regular smiling fawn.
Yeah.
Yeah, she has a brief, just sort of genuine, I did it, like
Yeah.
smile before flattening out again. Is this what it's like everywhere, or is this around your house?
This is around my house typically, but for the most part, many core spirits need a little help. They get pulled into situations that aren't very good for them. The whole point of my job was to find a better place for them. And some of them just really like it here. I'm quite proud to say.
Well, considering the food, I can't blame them.
You'd be surprised at how horrible I was at cooking.
I think Kou was very did not have a real answer when asked before of what do you want to do today? And now has a very definitive thing that she wants to do today. And turns to Machi. Come on, Machi, let's head outside.
Turns, waves
Your
to
core
friend
spirit.
who...
Your core spirit like sinks into the pot again.
Iru, that core spirit is not supposed to be there.
Oh, did you find a new spot you like? Oh, that's all my tea.
You follow Kou. Kou, you head out to the main living room area, and then even further on.
Yeah, she kind of bolts through the room, throws the door open, and looks around out here, and is gonna look for. She runs along the deck and is gonna look for the first core spirit she can find outside here around the house.
You keep running around then, moving about until, as you keep moving out, you eventually you see the lake kind of over there a little bit, and you run past and you move, and then you think, oh wait, there's that one right out here, and then you just start heading all the way over here to that one that seems to be almost resting in the trees. You see it. It seems to sleep right up there, almost finding itself entangled within the trees, like the tree branches itself, and the many leaves falling around it.
Yeah. How much of a vertical incline is this rocky bit down to the ground?
It's not too much. I think a kid might need to like stumble down it a bit just to be safe.
Yeah,
She just launched off of it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Kou was gonna like jump down there and then reach out to like have Machi jump down. Machi just barrels straight ahead. Kou's like, oh, all right, shit, and just, jumps down after it and runs around to the base of this tree to look up at this purple one. Takes out shovel and lightly taps the side of the tree. Excuse me. You up?
Here, let me just immediately roll for you there. You'd still be in that, so that'd be a 12. Okay. You call out to this core spirit of sleep, and as you do, it shuffles slightly but remains where it is.
Oh, did I make a roll for that?
I rolled for you there. I clicked on it and did it for that case. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Seems a bit quiet.
Nuts.
Now I want you to make a roll to die for me.
Okay.
And you can lock into that yellow first if you'd like.
Let me make sure I'm...
Oh, you locked yellow. You didn't...
I did... Huh?
Earlier, you locked yellow. You didn't lock it in.
Oh,
like
right.
You
That's
need to click
it.
on the button.
Oh,
not...
I forgot that locking in and locking are not the same thing.
Yeah.
Right. That's why. Okay. So hang on. If I click the yellow... There we go.
There
There
we
you
go.
go.
I always go just long enough without using the API to completely forget how to make it
That's
function.
true. Yeah.
Okay. So lock that. All right. So now I'll roll to die. Oh,
All right.
rad. I got blue. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Let me
And
just. Okay.
may I?
You may do something. Yes.
Yeah. So, well, I was wondering if this was a roll to die, roll to do, or.
This is gonna be. This thing's gonna act on you. I'm taking that into
okay.
account, but I'm going to give you another action before this happens. So do whatever you'd like again.
Oh, okay. I think Kou is studying this thing and contemplating whether there is any part of its form that she can gently poke to try to route it without really knowing how core spirit anatomy works.
Yeah. You end up poking a bit and moving around, and Granny, you watch and expect something to happen, which does. Kou, eventually you poke this thing, and then it almost seems to rustle ever so slightly, and you step back, and then it kind of falls off the tree, and you end up catching it in your arms, and you're thinking, "Hey, I got it up." Oh, you got it up. And then, in a moment, Granny, you watch as Kou ends up sitting down with this thing, and then, having failed to resist it, Kou, you end up falling under the effects of the core spirit of sleep's primary way of interacting with others, and you end up passing out lying directly with this thing in a field full of grass.
Granny came over here to oversee, but also keep a bit of distance because she knows if she just falls asleep outside, it's probably not great. So
Yeah.
she sees that. Machi, could you give me a hand?
Nods.
And Kou, this was the start. This was the very start of your first steps to becoming a core stabilizer.
I remember my
And-
first step face down in the grass.
And as time passed, even more years going back, as many memories came to you, you learned how to write, read, did some cooking, figured out about core spirits, everything along that. There came another day that eventually would mark a very important occasion for you and Iruru. Kou, hang on. That was the day that finally we were ready to set off.
So,
Look at my thick outlines.
Yeah.
so do you have everything? Your bag's all packed?
Shoot, Graham, you checked my bag 3 times already.
Well, you can never be too sure.
He takes the bag off. All right, rice, jerky, still the old standby.
Oh,
Got your sweets.
Oh, okay. I forgot those. Do you want some more? I think I have some more.
Gran, I've already got. She opens the sack in which they are contained inside of here, and it is bursting with them, just like days and days, even if you were eating nothing but these. Close again. So yeah, I'd like some more.
I had some right here anyway. She grabs over and hands them over.
Darn, I wish I know Machi is already on the board here. I really want to do the gag of like checking my bag. Okay, I got this, I got this. Machi, you trying to smuggle yourself in?
Yeah.
I mean,
Machi hops off.
you're putting the new sweets in.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, shoot! Without Machi in there, I can fit like another whole bag of them. No, I got enough. It's fine.
Oh, Machi, you cling onto the shoulder ever so slightly, keeping your head a little farther
Away
from the
from
candles
the-
that sit though. Yeah.
So where did Suisen say he would meet you?
Out of character. Great question.
Oh. I think Suisen said he'd meet you on some business in the countryside, maybe near Omani, but not in Omani for sure.
Yeah, some inn, little ways east of Omani. East enough for the food not to taste like shit, I hope.
Well, you have wonderful hand in cooking, so I'm sure you can figure it out.
I think I'll make him cook for me. Like, it's not gonna be good for either of us, but it'll be funny.
God.
Yes, he has a lot of my early cooking habits, putting tea spices in everything.
Oh, man. I'm gonna miss this place.
Yes, we will all miss you. I expect letters.
Don't worry. Machi set me straight.
Pride.
Oh. You sort of linger at the door just a little bit longer, kind of standing there and having that moment of, you know, you gotta go.
She steps to like the top of the steps and kind of stretches, looks both ways, like she is well and truly gonna set off, and then wordlessly turns around and just goes in for a deep and long hug.
Yanadu hugs her very deeply back. I think you're going to do a wonderful job.
I don't know if I'll be able to do it like you.
You shouldn't have to. Do it like you.
I guess it worked okay for Sui-sen. Somehow.
Yes, he did manage to figure it out.
You want me to send him back?
Yes, you should do that.
Alright, just as soon as he gets done with whatever silly little thing he called me out there for. We can... You know what? I can do whatever job this is, and then we'll both come back. Stay a little while.
I would love that. I'll have plenty of sweets ready.
This is killing me.
And she pulls. She's like gets to the point where it's like, all right, if I don't disconnect from this hug situation, we're gonna be here all day. She realizes.
You pull back and you step back up to that stairway, and you turn around and see the Lady of the House of Travelers once more waving off another soul out into the world. The final student of the legacy of Aruru.
Takes
For
us-
that,
Yeah.
turn around.
She gets ready to set off, and this time does go down the steps because she realizes, like, if I keep being indecisive, I'm not gonna go. So she starts walking away quite briskly, as if she were suddenly in a big hurry, and it pretty much breaks into a run as soon as she gets to the bridge, and just shouts back at the top of her lungs as she barrels away. "Love you, Graham!"
Love you, Kou.
And so started another tale of yet another core stabilizer.